Welcome. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to your fitness test. The first Wednesday of this new format. We're going to do our monthly fitness test. All right, so Wendy and Jill, we have a total body test today. So you're going to do some warm-ups and you're going to follow them, or any warm-ups you want to do on your own. So we have upper body and lower body today, and some cardio too. So jumping jacks, inchworms, arm circles, hip circles, things like that. We'll all do a couple of jumping jacks to finish up with in a moment. Let me talk about the 5 things we're going to be doing today. And then as I'm talking, you do your warm-ups, and I'll explain all the options that we have, because we have a lot of different options for each exercise. So, format is 5 exercises. You're going to do each exercise for 2 minutes with a little 1-minute break in between. Now the goal is to try to get as many reps as you can within that 2 minutes. First exercise, we have push-ups. Now, 4 different types of push-ups that we can do. We have regular push-ups on our toes, and then we have those regular push-ups on our knees. So that's the first 2. Leaning forward, nice and straight, everything rigid. Leaning forward, shoulders over the hands. Coming down, that is your toe push-up. We've seen that before. We also have the same thing, knee push-up. Make sure you're leaning forward. Don't stick your hips back. Don't come down like this. Make sure you're leaning forward. Everything comes down evenly. So you got toes, you have knees. Now, the other 2 that we have are those 2 versions, but with a release. So we have on the toes with a release. All the way down, release for a second. Bring your hands back to your chest level. Push yourself up evenly. So watch this. When I come up, everything comes up evenly. See? So I'm not coming up like a cobra or an upward dog. I'm not bringing the chest up first. Everything comes up evenly. So you have the toes with the release and the knees with the release. Coming down, release, pushing up, nice and evenly. All right, that is the push-up. Those 4 versions, make a little mental note, all right? It also is, of course, helpful to have a little piece of paper or a little phone nearby on your notes app open to write down your numbers. That'll be the first one. 2 minutes, you'll pick an option, and then you will start that. After that, we have air squats. So, same thing, 2 minutes, air squats. A couple things here. You can even practice this now as we're going. Feet flat the whole time. So your feet have to stay flat. Torso's got to stay up. You squat down as low as you're able to. So if this is your depth, that's fine. If you're able to go lower, that's fine. So you're going to find your depth. And as you're practicing, you find that depth, and you're going to hit that same depth every time. When we actually get to the test, you have 2 minutes. You get as many air squats as you can, all the way up, all the way down to that bottom depth. All right? Feet flat, torso up the whole time. All right. Air squats. All right. We have burpees after that. So burpees, we have a few options here. We're going to try to simplify it down. So there are 2 things that you have to do for every burpee, no matter which option you do. You have to tap your chest to the floor, and you have to clap your hands at the top, all right? Tap chest to the floor, and clap your hands at the top, all right? So, versions. Come down, jump back. Tap, chest, jump back up, clap the hands, all right? One more time for you. That's version 1. Jump back, tap, jump back, clap, all right? So the jump, all right? Option 2 is a step. Step, step. You still tap your chest to the bottom. You step up, clap your hands at the top. One more time. Step, step, tap, chest down. You don't have to do a push-up, you just have to tap it down. Come up, clap your hands. All right, so 2 options, but both options, your chest taps and your hands clap. Right? We're trying to standardize all the reps here. That is your burpee. All right, if you want to add a jump at the top, you can. Just make sure you write it down. That goes through all of these. If for some reason you deviate from some of these options, that's fine, as long as you write it down so you can replicate it again the next time. The goal of a lot of these, the reason why we have to standardize them, so you'll see it in a moment with the plank, where we really have to add some things to it, is so that you can replicate it easily, but also that so it's fair. For example, with the burpee, if we just say do burpees, you're going to see all sorts of different things. You might see some of this, that, right? Those 3 separate things I did, but if I just said do burpees, you might count those 3, right? So we really have to make sure all of them are exactly the same. Plank. The plank here, now we're not just going to hold a plank because that would be too easy. What we're going to do is find ourselves our starting line. So find, maybe you have a towel or some kind of line, some kind of, if you have hardwood floor, maybe you find the crack in your floor here. Start right here. You have the starting position, your hands don't move from this position. You find an object here, reach it out, that's your farthest you can reach out, put it there. So now you have a start point, you have an end point. Your hands don't move from here, you don't go any further, this doesn't move. So all you're going to do is hold that plank on your toes, everything nice and straight and rigid. Reach out, reach and touch that point, and say 1 Mississippi, bring it back. Other arm. 2 Mississippi, bring it back. 3 Mississippi, bring it back. 4 Mississippi, bring it back. Right? So you're going to count your Mississippis for 2 minutes. You go. Now every time, as soon as you drop down, then you're done. So you're not going to be able to take breaks. But the other 3, you can take breaks. So for the push-ups, if you need to take a break, you can. For the squats, obviously, when you stand up, that's kind of like a break. So obviously you can take breaks. The burpees as well, when you stand up, that's kind of like a break. So those 3 you can take breaks. The plank, though, you cannot take breaks. As soon as you drop down, you're done, right? The reason the plank has to have all those things is because if we just say hold a plank, that's gonna be really easy. A lot of people can hold it for at least a minute or longer. If we say plank on your knees, again, it's gonna be even longer. So you have to have it on your toes, and you have to add the reaches in too, right, to make it a little bit more challenging, and so we can replicate it each time. We say one Mississippi out loud, so it's the same distance and it's the same length with each arm and with each plank. Right? Those are your first four. Then after that, you have a 1 or a half mile run. So if you're coming here, we'll run around the building half a mile. You'll time yourself. If you're at home, you can time yourself in your neighborhood. Find a half mile distance and then time yourself for it. If you have a treadmill or a bike, you can do that. Just make sure write down the resistance so it stays the same, so you can replicate, test again. If you don't know how to track a mile, we use an app, or just find some distance in your neighborhood. Find some one end of your street and go to the other end and time that, right? As long as it's timed and as long as you can replicate it, that's all that matters. Whew, all right. While I'm talking, how are we feeling here? Good. Yeah, all right, folks. Do about 15 jumping jacks. 15 jumping jacks. Shake it out. 15 jumping jacks. Just light jumping jacks. Let me make one more little announcement here. Now, it's important to, as a disclaimer, the fitness test is really just for you. It's not about trying to get as many push-ups as you can in 2 minutes. It's not about it's not a competition. I'm trying to beat anyone else. I'm trying to beat yourself month to month, but it's really more just to get a number. So it's not about trying to get a whole bunch of push-ups. It's about trying to get some kind of number. And then next time you do the test, you have a number to look off of. So let's say today you only get 1 push-up. That's okay. Next month you do it, you get 2. That's a 100% increase, right? That's all that matters. You don't have to get a whole bunch. Okay, so that's the goal. So take a deep breath. Now, we're gonna go through the test. All right. 2 minutes with each exercise with a 1 minute break in between. I encourage you, as you're watching this at home, feel free to watch through it one time before you start. So skim through it and watch through all of it before you, to kind of get a feel for it before you actually start the test. Because you can then rewind and start it whenever you want to, right? So we're gonna get started here. Folks at home, watch ahead of time. I encourage you, if you have the time, starting with those push-ups. Remember the push-ups. We have the regular toes, we have the regular knees, and then we have the toes or knees with the release. Okay, so we're gonna do, Wendy's gonna show us the toes with the release, and Jill's gonna show us the knees with the release, all right? So we'll show you the release version. At home, if you're doing the test though, you can't watch us, you're doing the test. But if you're watching ahead of time, you can watch ahead of time. All right, but if you're doing the test, don't look up. Focus on your push-ups, and make sure you count your reps and write it down. There we go, folks. All right, enough talking. All right, folks. Push-ups. 2 minutes, starting in 3, 2, 1, and let's begin. All right. Tip the music down a little bit. We don't need too much music here. Focus on your reps here. Now, a couple things. With push-ups, you're allowed to take breaks, right? You get 2 minutes, you can take breaks. Make sure you count them, all right? Count them out loud, all right? Now, make sure everything is even. So you can see here, if you're doing the push-ups, don't watch. Don't pay attention to me right now. If you're doing the push-ups, focus on push-ups. If you're watching this ahead of time, then you can see here, when he's coming down evenly, she's coming up evenly, even with the release. So watch this. As she comes down, she releases. As she comes up, everything comes up evenly. See that? Same thing over here. Release, and then everything comes up evenly. So you're not coming up with the chest up first. Everything comes up evenly. Okay? Once again, if you're actually doing the test, focus on the test. You should have watched this ahead of time first. All right. Again, you get 2 minutes. We are 45 seconds in. I'll keep you updated on the time. Good. All right. Very nice. Now everything stays nice and even, rigid, and straight. Now, another thing to note here, we got a 1 minute left. Another thing to note, like I said earlier, the goal is not to try to get as many reps as you can. The goal is to get as many solid reps, an honest number of reps. If you're here at the studio, we can kind of form check you and say, okay, those reps don't count. All right, so these two are going to throw in a couple bad reps. Then I'm going to, for example, throw in a couple bad reps for me. See, so over here, as she comes up, her chest is going to pop up first. You see that? She's not coming up evenly, right? So if you were here, I'd say those don't count. Right? So she wouldn't count those. All right? At home, there we go. Yep, see over here with Jill. She's coming up. She's not coming up evenly. She's still cobering up here. 30 seconds left. So those wouldn't count. If you're here, we can tell you those don't count. And if you're at home, you have to do an extra good job of being honest with yourself. You're the only person there. All right? 20 seconds left. Go through there. So make sure you keep counts. 13 seconds left. 10 seconds. Don't get too tired, Joe. We have to do this tomorrow. This is just practice. 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic. All right, a little 1 minute break. That was the push-ups. Go ahead and stand up for the air squats. Now. Good. Don't get too tired. You have to do this for real tomorrow. All right, folks. Air squats. Got 50 seconds. Remember, right now you can find that bottom position. These two are going to show us some bad reps in a moment here. They're going to do a couple reps that aren't quite as low as they should go. Right? Keep the feet flat and the torso up. Those are the 2 must-haves. Everything else, you just go down as low as you can. All right, folks. 36 seconds, and we get started. Shake it out, get ready for air squats. Same thing, 2 minutes, as many as you can. Count them out loud if you need to. The speed is up to you, but make sure you hit that same depth and you stand up all the way at the top. Here we go, 25 seconds. Let's take a look. Make sure as you squat down, of course, your knees are over the feet. Feet are flat. Here we go. 19 seconds, then we'll get started. All right. Here we go. Make sure you really be honest with yourself, folks. Be honest with yourself. All right? We're not here to tell you if you're doing it right or not. So be honest. You only count the reps you really do well. Here we go. Air squats in 5, 4, 3, 2, and air squats. Let's take a look. Right. So every now and then, these two are going to pop in some bad reps. Right? Again, if you're doing the squats, then focus on your squats. But if you're watching this ahead of time, then you can watch some of this. And then every now and then, pop in a couple bad reps. Right? See over here. See, torso's not up. Torso's not up. See, look at this. Torso's not up. Over here, knees are wobbling in and out. The feet are not flat. So those wouldn't count. I would say those don't count. Right? So at home, obviously, I'm not there. You have to be honest with yourself. Only count the reps that count, that are good reps. Right? We are 30 seconds in. We got a minute 30 left. Again, very important to emphasize, it's not about getting a whole bunch of reps. It's not about getting hundreds of reps. It's not about getting a high number. It's about getting a number. The number needs to be honest. It needs to be a true, accurate, real number. Even if you only get a few, it doesn't matter how many you get. It's about getting a number, an honest number. That way you can get that same number next time. If you start to cheat yourself, then it's hard to replicate this test. That's the thing. That's why we have to have so many of these different extra things in here so we can easily replicate it exactly. If I just said squat, then we don't know how low to go. We don't know what kind of things to happen. I have to give you all these caveats to make sure we can replicate this exact squat the next time, next one. Here we go. We have 53 seconds left. All right, good. Like I said, yep, so over here. So these would not count. Starting to get tired, you might want to just do some half reps. Those wouldn't count. You have to go all the way down. But that's okay, because it doesn't matter how many you get. It's about getting a number so you can keep track of it. Next month, you can try to get a little bit higher or see where you're at. Good. Good. We have 33 seconds left. Of course, eventually this may get a little easy. You may add weights, that's fine too. At home, if you're watching this, you can add a weight too. If you think your squats are fine, you can add a weight, as long as you write it down, folks. If you ever deviate from any of these, just write it down. That way you can replicate it exactly the same way. So if you said I'm holding a 5-pound weight, then you can write that down. 13 seconds left. So as long as the test is all for you, folks, it's all for you. The test, make it easy to replicate by following exactly the same things every time. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And time. Very good, folks. How many we get? How many? 100? 400?
I got like 455.
455? Jill? 1,000? Very nice, very nice. I got 1,001. I got one so fast you didn't see me. All right, folks. We have the burpees next, folks. Burpees next. Here we go. We got the burpees next. Remember, there's options for the burpees. We have chest tap, the floor, and clap to the top. Those are the must-haves. They're universal. All right. The options are either jump back or step back. All right. 35 seconds. Here we go. So let me show you. You can jump back. Your chest has to tap. Come up. Jump. Clap. So you can do the jump back. You can do the jump transition, or you can step transition. If you step, the same thing. Tap your chest. Come back up. Clap at the top. So you have to tap your chest and you have to clap at the top. You don't have to do a push-up though. So just come down and come up. Right? You don't have the speed is up to you. You don't have to do a push-up. All right? Just tap and come back up. Tap your chest, clap at the top. Here we go. 8 seconds, folks. Get ready, get ready. Here we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's begin. Let's begin. Let's begin. Pick an option and stick with that option there. Stick with that option. Stick with that option. So over here, we got the jump. Over here, we got the step. All right? Stick with that option. Stick with that option. It's going to be tempting to modify, but don't modify because how are you going to write that down? All right? All right. Stick with that same option and keep going. Get 2 minutes. Just do as many as you can. Keep the form good, of course. This one, there's going to be a little more variation. That's why we have to have that clap at the top. That way you have to stand up all the way. That way you don't stand up halfway. Stand up all the way. You have to tap your chest at the bottom. That way you know you're going all the way down and all the way up. You can replicate that. Right? There's no confusion about how far you went up, how far you went down. You can replicate that full length. Right? Same thing, a step. Good. Now again, if you want to add a little extra thing, if you want to jump at the top, if you want to do more extra fancy stuff in there, that's fine. This test is for you. Just make sure you write it down so you can replicate it. Don't do stuff that you can't replicate exactly. Don't do it exactly the same way. We have a minute 9 seconds left. Again, if you're doing the test, just focus on the test, count your numbers. If you're watching this ahead of time, then you can pay attention to it. You can see they're going here. Good, good. This one here, unlike the push-up, you can come up. You don't have to come up evenly. You just pop up. Just tap your chest and come up. You don't have to do a push-up. Just come up. Tap your chest and come up. This isn't a push-up. You go down and up. Here we go. We have 48 seconds left. Good, good. Keep track of your numbers. Good, good. We got 43 seconds left. Nice. Step. Come up. Nice and tall. Clap at the top. Very nice, very nice. We got 35 seconds left. Good, good, good. Very nice, very nice. Oh man, a lot of burpees. Good. Feel free to slow it down too. Feel free to slow it down, especially you, Jill. Slow it down if you need to. You have to do this tomorrow. get too tired. Don't rush. 20 seconds left, folks. Nice, nice, nice. 15 seconds left. Good, good, good. 12. Nice, nice, nice. Good, good, good. Here we go, folks. Here we go. This is it. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Time's up. All right, folks. Burpees done. All right, a little 1 minute break. We move into the plank next, the final exercise here. Final exercise, and then we'll go into that timed half-mile run. All right, timed half-mile. Obviously, you can do that in your own time. Find yourself half-mile distance. All right, you can do that separately. At home, you'll have to do that separately because you probably have to go find a half-mile distance for yourself, or any distance works too. And here, we'll have a nice course we planned out. You folks who run with us. Here we go, folks. The plank. Get yourself set up. 33 seconds, then we'll get started. Set yourself up. Find that start line and keep yourself there at that start line. Get an object and reach it out as far as you can with your arms reached. So now the distance stays the same. You can replicate that distance because it's just your arm's length. And you're gonna hold it for 1 Mississippi. Reach out, 1 Mississippi, bring it back. 2 Mississippi, bring it back. 3 Mississippi, bring it back. All right, folks? Make sure you say 1 Mississippi out loud. Don't think it in your head, because you think it in your head, it's gonna go by faster than a second. So say out loud, 1 Mississippi. Stay on your toes. As soon as you drop down, you're done. Get ready, folks. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up. Let's begin. Let's begin. As soon as you drop down, you're done, folks. As soon as you drop down, you're done. There's no breaks with this one. As soon as you drop down, you're done. So you say 1 Mississippi out loud. Here we might not say it because we don't want to distract you. But at home, say 1 Mississippi. If you think 1 Mississippi, it's not going to be exactly the same because you could think a different amount of time each time. So say 1 Mississippi. You'll try to replicate it. The goal is to replicate this test exactly the same way each time. All right? Again, yep. You're counting how many Mississippis you do, how many reaches. You can hold that plank if you need to until you're ready to reach it out. Just don't drop it down. It doesn't count if you don't do the reach though, so only count the reaches. But you can hold that plank if you need to gather yourself. All right? If you want to open up your feet, you can. You can try to write it down how wide your feet are, but that's a little bonus. You don't need to worry about that. As long as you hold yourself up. It's a normal plank, see? On your toes, of course, on your toes. Leaning forward. Straight legs, flex the core. Staying on your toes. On your knees would be too easy. On your toes, on your toes. On your toes. Good, good, good. We are a minute down, Make sure you're counting your Mississippis, folks, counting your Mississippis. Now, hopefully you're watching this ahead of time, so you don't try to do this on your first try. Watch it first, hopefully. So if you kind of messed up a little bit, that's okay. Just write down what you have. Just write it down. That way you can do the same next time. That's okay. You'll get better each time. It's still kind of new, so don't worry about it. 42 seconds left. Good, good. Count those Mississippis, yep. The reason we have to move an object there is so that you don't just arbitrarily reach some random distance. Every distance you reach is the same. You reach that same distance to that object. The time that you reach is also the same. By saying 1 Mississippi, that time is now standardized. It's now easily replicable. 23 seconds left. Very good. Okay, good. Nice, nice, nice. 19 seconds. Good, good, good. Very nice. Oh, nice, nice. Very good. We got 14 seconds left. Very nice. All right. Nice, nice, nice. Yep. Say 1 Mississippi. Okay, 1 Mississippi. Here we go. 7 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. Very good, folks. There you go. There you go. Those are your 4 exercises. Very nice, folks. All right. Now, for the run here, if you're here, you would just follow us along. We'd lead you through the run. If you're by yourself, you can do it now. You can do it some other time, depending on the availability you have. Maybe you want to do it outside, but you can't do it outside at the moment. You do a half-mile run. Here it's half-mile because we can track half-mile. If you're able to track a half-mile easily at home, maybe use an app. If you have a treadmill, you can do that. If you use a treadmill or a bike, then make sure the resistance is set to the same resistance and write it down too, right? So you can do that. If you don't do a half-mile, you don't know how to track it, then just do any distance, right? Half-mile is just easy for us to track, but you can do any distance. Find a stop sign and go to the end of your block or whatever it is, and just do that same distance. Write it down, of course, and time yourself on that distance, right? Make it a decently long distance. Don't make it, just a length of a room. Make it something that you actually have to kind of push yourself for and build up some speed. Something that takes at least a couple minutes, right?
And would you say you shouldn't wait too long or the next day to do this?
Yeah. Don't wait too long. Obviously.
No more than 5 minutes?
Yeah. If you're able to do it now if you can, or as fast as you can. Obviously, you have to transition from inside to outside, so do it as soon as you can. But most importantly, make sure you write it down. Make sure it's you can replicate the test again, right? Other than that, that is your first Wednesday, the fitness test. We're gonna try to do these monthly so that we can look at these numbers. Once again, the goal is not to get as many as you can. The goal is to get some number, and you look at that number month to month, all right? Jill, thank you for joining us for our fitness test. Wendy, thank you. Am I forgetting anything? I think we're good. We're still trying to figure this out, folks. This is actually our second recording. Jill here. We didn't have Jill the first time. That's why it's better. Yeah, all right. I think we're good, folks. All right. You take care. If you're here with us, feel free to come to the studio if you want us to kind of guide you. It's a little bit more fun. But at home, once again, you got to really be honest with yourself. You're your own coach at home. So thank you for joining us, folks. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you tomorrow.